Hey guys, welcome to Deep South. I'm Wanda, and Danny's going to join us in a few minutes. We're going to be touring the she shed. I'm going to be showing you the inside and what we've got going on. This is a multi-purpose building, and it's going to be used for many things, and we'll talk about it as we go and the future plans for my she shed. Come on in. This is the entrance that is coming from the house. We're going to be putting smartboard siding on each side. As you can see, Danny's already got the lights done and wired, and see how neat. He's very neat with his wiring. Comes over, we will have a light above. And this walkway will go into the carport. Our car and the Ranger will fit in here, and we have chairs there where we can look out. The bottom of that wall will be the smart board, and I guess the top also will be smart board across there to finish out that wall. We plan on putting 2 ceiling fans with lights here and putting some ceiling board up soon. This wall here will be the canning kitchen. Right now we have the insulation in there. Danny already has it wired for lights. He built a partial wall here. The countertop will go across here. We will have a sink and a stove here, as well as cabinets, top and bottom, in that area. This hallway goes out to the back patio. Right now it's just the patio, the concrete. We're coming back later this week and putting boards across the top, putting a roof over it, and it will be a covered patio in a couple of weeks with a metal roof to match the building. Danny is finishing up the last little bit of wiring, and he is very good at putting the wires together, putting staples across them so that they don't look like spider webs everywhere. This will be the bathroom eventually. Right now it's not going to be a finished bathroom, but we have to wire it for it. He's put in the exhaust fan. We already have ready for the plumbing and stuff for a shower, a toilet, and a sink in here. But for now, it will be maybe storage or something like that for the time being.
Yep.
This is the main room that I've been waiting for. We have the insulation, the boards for the ceiling and the walls, and we will be painting the floor. Danny did do some patchwork on the floor here. He's got it wired. This room will have a refrigerator and a freezer going across here. He's already got the box up for an ice maker hooked up to it because we're putting our old refrigerator in here. Then we will come across with cabinets and space for all my canning supplies all around the room. And over here will be another freezer. So I have all my freezers in one spot, or my main freezers, I might say, in one spot where I can just come check on them and get what I need. Eventually we're going to floor the top part from this area on back, and it will give us a nice little room up there. Danny and my son Jesse already installed the pull down stairwell so that it makes it easier access. This is a big one that they can get plywood and stuff up through.
Alright guys, on the garage here we installed a 100 amp service panel. In here I felt like that 100 amps was more than enough for a garage. It has a main breaker in it here that we installed. The 2 main lines coming in are from an outside feed source. I put the rubber boots on them here so that there's no danger of getting electrocuted if you get close to them. And we have all of our breakers in here for the garage. Now we chose to run 20 amp circuits in here because I never know what I'm going to be using out here. Some of the stuff I use requires a 20 amp service. So I told Wanda, I said, we have 2 dedicated receptacles on the outside of the garage over here that are 20 amp receptacles to go with the 20 amp single breakers because it requires that. And each refrigerator, each freezer in the building here has its own circuit, so that if 2 of them, the compressors happen to kick on at one time, they're not on the same circuit, causing a heavy surge for that circuit. So every freezer and every refrigerator, like I said, has its own circuit. So there's no overloading or anything like that. We have it all balanced out real well here. Now we have 2 ground fault interceptor type breakers here. One of them is for the outside under the porch area out there. I felt like it was necessary because it might be a damp location to, plus code requires it, that I have a ground fault, either a ground fault plug or a ground fault breaker. And then the kitchen, I have a ground fault for it. Every receptacle in the kitchen, I didn't want to go buy ground fault receptacles for every every receptacle in the kitchen. So what I chose to do was just go purchase the ground fault breaker instead. That way, if one of them happens to trip, it kills all of them. And I feel like that's a little bit safer for us to do that. You know, I'm very meticulous when I lay out a box. All of my wires are running chases. They're all zip tied together. I like for it to be clean looking. I don't like to see a bunch of wires in the box just you know, running around everywhere looking like a spider web. I like all my wires to be very clean and very nice looking. That way it looks like more of a professional job. Now I do have all my my ground wires over on one side of the box. I do have all my neutrals over on the other side of the box. You know, so that everything is kept separated that way. And I do realize there's a bus bar between them. There's nothing I can do about that. But in the future, should code change or whatever and require me to have a common ground over on the side over here, all of them be over there. My wires are already ran that way. Right now, it's not a big issue. But, you know, this is just the way that I wire a panel box. I like for it to look nice and clean. It makes it a lot easier to work in here. You're not as apt to have a short in something, a wire touching something it's not supposed to be touching. And guys, this is just, I think when you do something, you need to give it your best, you know. Okay, and we come up out of here. I like to keep all these kind of uniform. We got them all drilled in the center of the plate up here, and I kind of like run them as close to in chases as I can. I was running short on wire, so 2 wires I had to run, or 3 wires actually, I had to run just kind of crossways here. But I did try to get them back into a chase as quickly as I could. Okay, we have them running chases along here. That way when we insulate, they're not hanging everywhere, they're not in the way. It makes it a lot easier for insulating. As you can see how all the wires are ran. And because we're going to be flooring the attic, anything in here where we floored it at, we want to make sure our wires are running along beside all of our joists rather than on top of them, so that the plywood don't have to, you know, we don't have to worry about the plywood mashing any of them or anything like that. It makes it a lot simpler to get in here and work. As you can tell, some of our wiring up in the attic up here runs into what's called a junction box right back up here. This junction box is where we have several feeds coming out of one box. I did this for the garage lights. It's no sense in me putting each room, the lights on it on a separate circuit. And I don't believe in putting the lights in a room on the circuit with receptacles. So what I've done is I put a junction box up in the attic and I run all the lights in the garage off of one junction box. That way there's no, when you plug something in, there's no surging of the lights, there's no dimming of the lights or anything like that, because there's a surge from a receptacle that a light switch is hooked to. So that's the main purpose for doing the junction boxes. Okay, right now in the garage build, we're not really interested in finishing the whole garage at this point. What we're really interested in doing is getting this one room right here ready for Ms. Wanda, because it's got 2 deep freezers in it, a refrigerator, and we're going to have all the cabinets going around in here for her to have plenty of room for storage and stuff like that. And the company that I deal with here in our local town, they had ordered a whole pile of Luan for a particular job for someone, and this person didn't need all of it. And it's a very fine Luan. It's a cabinet grade Luan, and they made me a nice deal on it. So Ms. Wanda's walls in her room here and the ceiling, we've decided we're going to use this pre-finished cabinet grade birch lumber on the walls in here, because we got it at a better deal than we could if we just bought plain old Luan and was going to paint it. So I felt like that it was a good deal for us to go that route, and I'll show you what it looks like. Guys, this is the birch plywood that I was talking about, Luan. It has a pre-finish on it that's very slick. It's like glass. It has a waterproof finish on it, a urethane type finish that's really nice. Wanda and I are kind of excited about it because it means we don't have to paint the room when we get through. And the room has a very rich wood texture look to it, which is also very nice. I mean, when you take a 7-ply, a half-inch plywood, a Luan that's 7-ply cabinet grade material, and you're putting it on the walls of a room that's just a storage room and on the ceiling, I think that's awesome. I mean, it's very glossy looking when you get it against the light. It's got a high gloss to it. It's waterproof. Now, like I said, you'll see the seams in it, but you know what? I can live with looking at the seams, knowing that I have a high-grade wood on the walls, and I think it's going to be great. I mean, I know most of it's going to be covered up with cabinets and stuff like that, but just the fact of knowing that I've got a product on the walls and the ceilings that's been treated to be waterproof and everything, and I don't have to paint. That's, to me, that's a big issue. Next, we have the insulation all piled up over here. We got R30 for the attic, which is what's required here for our temperature. We got R19 for the walls, because we have 2x6 walls. We have a vapor barrier on the outside of the walls already, but we're going to go back and we're going to put the R19 in there just to be able to insulate this thing as well as possible. I do know that most of the garage is open out here, but inside the rooms and stuff like this, we're going to go ahead and insulate all exterior walls on this thing, because you never know in the future if this thing may have to be closed in and used for something. I would whole lot rather it be insulated ahead of time and know that it's there than to have to tear something back off the walls and try to go back and re-insulate. So we're going to do our best to get this thing insulated and as sound as we can, because Ms. Wanda will be storing a lot of stuff out here, and I want it to be as climate controlled as possible. You know, I don't want it to be too hot. I don't want it to be too cold, because we got plumbing in here and everything. We don't want pipes freezing, having to worry about all that. So we're going to do as good a job as we can on insulating everything and making it as soundproof as possible. Well, guys, we're at the point with the building of the garage here that is where things will begin to slow down a little bit.
But it's going to take shape and look great once it's done. It took us less than 20 days to get all this done. Now the wiring, the plumbing, and insulation, and all these boards going up, it's going to be day by day. So we're not going to show every day, but we will show some of the days.
We'll show upgrades on it as we go along. Like, all the wiring is done. Yeah. We don't have to do any more wiring. Basically now, plumbing will be next.
And insulation.
We'll be insulating some of the outside walls where there's no plumbing at. We go ahead and try to get that up. And we're going to work on getting insulation in the ceiling of Ms. Wanda's room around there, so that we can begin to start putting this Luan up on the ceilings, so that we can get this thing closed in pretty soon. As soon as we get the ceilings done, Ms. Wanda's probably gonna get in and probably gonna get the floor painted with one coat of paint because this concrete is raw concrete.
Yeah.
And it's gonna suck up the first coat pretty good. And we kind of don't want to put the finished coat on it and us on it trampling around trying to,
Move, do all kinds of stuff. So I'm wanting the finished coat after we get the walls done. The ceilings will go up, the first coat painted, then the walls. Then I'll put a second coat and we'll leave it, what, 2 or 3 days?
couple of days to make sure it cures good.
Yeah. And then we'll be moving in some of the appliances we're moving in. And building of the cabinets will come eventually.
Yeah, it'll come down the road. Right now, it's all about getting our freezers in here and getting everything kind of organized a little bit. You know, we have countertops we're going to be ordering for the kitchen. We got, you know, all that's down the road.
Appliances for the kitchen.
Yeah, the appliances and sink and stuff like that.
That will probably be maybe next month or so, or a little down the road, because I want the room, the cabinets built first, because I want to move all my Canon stuff out here. Everything we have to deal with preserving food, I want it to come out here. So we have some in Danny's shop, some in my kitchen, some in the dining room.
It's just spread everywhere. And when you go to look for something, you can't find it. You get frustrated right off the bat, and then your canning experience turns out to be something you don't want. And
It takes us a few minutes sometimes. We go, I know I have this, where did I put it? And so time you search the house and the barn, you're back and forth, you've wasted time. If I know it's in my Canon kitchen, everything's there, my Canon storage, we just go to it. It's there, and I think we're gonna leave open shelves so I can find stuff.
I think it's better if we do. You can just walk in and look, and when you do, you automatically spot it. You're not digging through cabinets trying to find stuff.
So I hope you enjoyed what is going to be happening over the next few weeks and months here in the Canon kitchen / she shed / storage / carport. Hey, Danny's even got a upstairs. We're gonna
Yeah, we got the upstairs done. We're gonna floor.
For hunting. So, or at least watching.
At least I love to watch more than I like
He's
to
been
hunt.
watching a lot. So guys, keep watching and join us as Danny keeps building. He's
Yep.
not through yet.
I'm not through yet. I told you 2021 will be a wall hanger year. I've got another project coming right after this one that I've got to jump on.
It's like a minor project, but it needs to be done.
It's just something that should have been done a long time ago, but it hasn't been
So
done
that'll
yet.
be an upcoming video. I'm painting the wood shed. I got to finish that because we want everything to kind of look and match the house, the barn, the carport, she shed. And so everything else is getting done, and I thought I got to paint the wood shed. So that's part of it too.
That's true. There's just a lot of things, guys, that's taking place here. 2021 is going to be a great year for Deep South Homestead. 2020 was a good year, but we're going to make 2021 a great year. We're going to do the best we can. I know everything's supposedly looking bleak out there, but we're going to keep a positive attitude. We're going to try to do the best we can, and if everything goes sour, at least we will say we gave it our best shot.
And we enjoyed the journey.
Yeah, that's the way we're going to look at it. So thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.